Hello, this is Mish, and welcome to this review/recap of the Legion TV show finale. So this was for episode 8. So this will contain spoilers, so if you're not up to date with the season, pause this, come back when you are ready. So I'll just do a brief recap of what happened, then mention positives and negatives that I thought of this episode, then finish up with my overall thoughts of the season and also season 2 and what we may see. So the episode starts off with information on the Interrogator from the initial first few episodes of the season. So if you don't remember, he was questioning David in the swimming pool complex. Then we see David rescued. At that point, the Interrogator was badly burnt and I presume dead. So he has returned, and we saw that last episode. So what we see this episode is what followed that character after the explosion. So a bit of backstory, a bit of information about his family, which was cool to see. And it's also quite funny. It's the whole Austin Powers scenario that bad guys have families too. I found that quite amusing, but it was pretty cool to see as just building up information on that character. So then we see David easily dispatch the soldiers from Division 3. So the Interrogator becomes the interrogated. So the mutants discuss a plan of actions, how to deal with the Interrogator. A lot of them just saying, just kill him. And whilst this situation is occurring, we see the Shadow King is trying to break out or communicate with Sid, telling her that he's not going to leave, that David will die if they force him out. So the suggestion there of letting the Shadow King go into someone else, possibly Sid. Then we see the plan to remove the Shadow King from David's mind. I guess to trap the Shadow King or isolate it, then remove it from David's memory and his current mind as well. But whilst this is all happening, we see Sid come to the realization that what the Shadow King said to her seems to be occurring, that he will not leave and David will die. So she goes up to him and kisses him. So the Shadow King transfers into Sid herself. Then we see Sid touch Carrie. So then, of course, because she touched Carrie, Carrie is now the Shadow King. Then Carrie manages to take out 3 people, so she takes out Carrie takes Carrie out, then she takes out Tommy, then takes out Melanie. And she starts walking down the hallway. We see the Interrogator break out of his room and smash her over the head, which was quite a weird scene, and I guess it's just points there that he is actually behind them now, in a way. So we see that David and Carrie meet. So in essence, that's David versus the Shadow King. And we see them charge at each other. A massive explosion occurs, or a blast that knocks them both flying unconscious. But we see the Shadow King fly out in a kind of a wispy soul type essence type of thing. And go straight into Oliver Bird, who then we see proceeds to start whistling and humming and singing and jumps in his car and leaves. So that really wraps up the episode on a basic level. I guess the question now is, was the episode any good? Overall, I definitely did enjoy this episode. I thought it was pretty good. Some things I really liked was I liked seeing the backstory of the Interrogator. So his name was Clark. I like how going forward he'll be the conduit between the mutants and the government, possibly trying to build a relationship so they will actually help the government in the future. Also, a strange note, though, about Clark. His partner is another agent within Division 3. So whilst Clark may be on the side of the mutants now, it would seem, maybe his partner won't be. So that'll be interesting to see if there's some dynamic there which will happen. So as usual, the acting was really good. The script was good. We've got a good amount of closure for this season. And definite breadcrumbs onto the next season, of course. But before I mention the next season, I will say, I was a little bit disappointed in regards to the showdown between David and the Shadow King. Sure, they had a bit of words within David's mind, and they collided with each other down the hallway, so they smashed into each other. But that was really it. But I really wanted to see a epic, godlike brawl between two giants like those two. Maybe not a brawl in the world, maybe even in the astral plane. That would have been pretty cool, because then everything could have gone crazy, could have really pushed the limits there. But a little bit disappointed. But maybe they're saving that till the next season. But I definitely thought that the showdown between them was a bit disappointing. Another point as well that slightly annoyed me with this episode was going back to the old suggestion of David is still unsure if this is real or not. Now, I hoped it would have been the end of the scenario. But maybe not. Maybe this is going to be an ongoing theme throughout this season and the next one, and if there's any more after that as well. You know, that David's questioning his reality. David possibly does have mental issues, as it does suggest that in the comics. I know that for sure. But in saying that, I still did enjoy this episode. I thought it could have been a bit more action-packed for a finale like this. Maybe a bit more of a cliffhanger there, but still, it was good. I did enjoy it. Now, for Season 2, let's talk about Season 2. So obviously, I think the main point will be Melanie Bird, who will never stop finding, never stop helping, never stop trying to be with Oliver Bird. And I won't be surprised if we see her next season, possibly even going alone, trying to track down Oliver Bird. But I think ultimately we will see the David versus Shadow King showdown to the death maybe next season. But once again, we see the Shadow King looking for that item. So that's going to be the main driver for those characters in Season 2. Trying to find a certain item. Now, I did mention this last video of what is this item. Some people suggested it was this Psy Blade, which has been used against Shadow King previously. So maybe he's trying to find the item to unlock more power, or maybe use it against somebody. Who knows? That's up for debate, I guess. And put your thoughts down below on that one as well. What is the Shadow King looking for? So I think we will see next season Division 3 drop away as, I guess, the main threat. You know, Shadow King is obviously the main threat, but Division 3 is the main physical threat to the whole team. Possibly there will be splinter groups within the government chasing them down, but for the most part, I think we'll see something else. So perhaps we'll see more of a mutant versus mutant next season. And I will say as well, whilst we got quite a bit of backstory on the Interrogator this time, so Clark the Interrogator, I quite like that they're adding that in there. So I think that he will probably be a main part of the next season. And I like that it really adds a good variation to not just a story of mutants. It's also a story of government agencies, governments trying to deal with a situation like this and how they're going to deal with it. So that should be pretty cool. And also I think there'll be rival factions between the government as well, which will be interesting to see how that plays out. So anyway, I'll leave this video here. I might do another video on possible predictions for Season 2. That would be pretty cool. A lot of fun to do things like that. But for now, I'll leave it here. So please comment below. As always, I really appreciate all that feedback. It's really cool. Thumbs up if you like this little review I've done here. And subscribe for future content from me. And this is Mesh. So until next time, take care and I'll see you later.